In 1959, producer William Castle pulled off one of cinema's most electrifying stunts, literally. For the release of the Tingler, Castle wired theater seats with vibrating motors, delivering powerful jolts to unsuspecting moviegoers during the film's most terrifying moments. The gimmick, dubbed Percepto, transformed a modest horror flick into a full-contact experience that had audiences leaping from their seats. Castle's flair for spectacle didn't end there. Ambulances parked outside theaters served as ominous warnings, heightening the sense of danger and anticipation. Some believe Castle even planted actors in the audience to stir up chaos, though his most famous staged fainting routines had already made headlines with Macabre the year before. Marketing materials leaned into the hysteria. Posters dared viewers to scream for your lives, a tagline that became synonymous with the film. Inspired by Castle's earlier Coward's Corner concept, some theater owners created unofficial safe zones for the faint of heart. Despite critics brushing it off as campy B-movie fare, the Tingler drew repeat audiences eager to relive the thrill. Castle's over-the-top tactics proved that the right gimmick could turn a low-budget horror film into a cultural sensation. He didn't just sell a movie, he sold an experience. Alfred Hitchcock revolutionized movie marketing with Psycho in 1960. Crafting a campaign that built suspense before audiences even entered the theater. He didn't just direct a film, he engineered an event. His most audacious rule? No late admissions. Theater owners were instructed to lock the doors once the film began. This wasn't about punctuality, it was about total immersion. Posters with ticking clocks and stern warnings turned moviegoing into a high-stakes appointment. Hitchcock himself became the campaign's face. In trailers, he guided viewers through the Bates Motel set, teasing tension without revealing key plot points. His deadpan delivery and insistence on secrecy turned curiosity into obsession. Rather than spoil Janet Leigh's early exit, the campaign leaned into mystery. Ads offered cryptic hints, and audiences sworn to silence couldn't help but whisper about what they'd seen. The result? A marketing masterclass that turned a modest thriller into a global phenomenon. Psycho grossed over $60 million worldwide on a budget under $1 million. Hitchcock's spoiler-free strategy became the gold standard for suspenseful film promotion, influencing generations of filmmakers. February 1959. Audiences expecting a typical horror flick were in for a surprise when a glowing skeleton swooped over their heads during the climax of House on Haunted Hill. William Castle's Emergo gimmick turned theaters into haunted houses, and reactions ranged from laughter to popcorn-throwing chaos. Castle, the maestro of movie stunts, knew that the experience was just as important as the film. His promotional campaigns blurred the line between fiction and reality, with some theaters transforming lobbies into spooky attractions complete with coffins and cobwebs. The Emergo skeleton became infamous, not always for the right reasons. Technical glitches often led to tangled wires or skeletons crashing into balconies, but these mishaps only fueled the film's notoriety. Some speculate Castle welcomed the chaos as part of the show. Despite its modest $200,000 budget, House on Haunted Hill became a box office hit. Castle's interactive approach inspired a wave of immersive horror experiences, proving that audience participation could be the secret ingredient to cinematic success. Columbia Pictures turned Lawrence of Arabia into a cinematic event through one of the most ambitious promotional efforts of 1962. Recognizing that David Lean's sweeping desert epic demanded equally grand marketing, the studio crafted a campaign that blurred the line between spectacle and reality. Select theaters hosted immersive premieres, complete with Arabian-themed lobbies and staff dressed as Bedouin guides. Some venues even borrowed camels from local zoos, offering photo ops that made the film's debut feel like a cultural expedition. The studio produced lavish roadshow programs filled with behind-the-scenes photos, cast interviews, and production insights. These collectible booklets weren't just souvenirs, they were part of the experience, reinforcing the film's prestige. Rumors suggest that the film's popularity inspired unofficial travel agencies to offer tours of Jordan's filming locations. Whether coordinated with Columbia or not, these excursions reflected the film's power to inspire real-world adventure. Radio and television ads emphasized the film's technical brilliance, especially its Super Panavision 70mm format. Audiences were urged to seek out the biggest screens available, reinforcing the idea that Lawrence of Arabia wasn't just a movie, it was an event. The campaign's scale and creativity helped the film dominate both critically and commercially, proving that bold marketing could elevate a great film into a cultural milestone. Universal Pictures turned Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds into a psychological marketing marvel when it premiered in 1963. Rather than rely on spectacle alone, the campaign played with audience perception, making the ordinary feel ominous. While some theaters staged local gimmicks, mechanical birds in lobbies, or themed displays, the campaign's true brilliance came from Hitchcock himself. He recorded mock public service announcements warning of bird attacks, delivered in his signature deadpan tone. These promos blurred the line between satire and sincerity, unsettling viewers before they even entered the theater. Promotional kits encouraged theater owners to play bird sounds in lobbies and post warning signs about avian behavior. Some venues even employed ushers dressed as bird attack victims, adding a theatrical layer to the experience. Rather than rely on flashy stunts, the campaign subtly manipulated everyday fears. By turning birds, ubiquitous and familiar, into potential threats, Universal made the film feel disturbingly plausible. Hitchcock's personal involvement amplified the unease. His appearances and interviews reinforced the idea that nature might be turning against humanity, making The Birds more than a thriller. It became a cultural moment. Paramount Pictures turned Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments into more than a movie. It became a spiritual spectacle. When it premiered in 1956, the studio launched a campaign that merged religious reverence with Hollywood grandeur. Theaters were transformed into biblical showcases, complete with ornate facades and dramatic tableaus. Massive billboards featuring Charlton Heston as Moses dominated cityscapes, making the film's presence inescapable. Paramount directly engaged religious communities, distributing promotional materials to churches and encouraging group attendance. Rather than re-explaining the strategy, it's worth noting how this approach helped bridge the gap between secular entertainment and spiritual storytelling. Merchandising included souvenir programs and themed products, while rumors of blessing campaigns added to the film's mythos. Though not all stunts are documented, the campaign's scale and sincerity resonated with audiences. The result was a box office juggernaut that grossed over $100 million. The Ten Commandments became a cultural event, demonstrating how faith-based marketing could elevate a film into a shared national experience. When The Blob oozed into theaters on September 12, 1958, it brought more than just sci-fi horror. It delivered one of Hollywood's most inventive grassroots campaigns. Theaters hosted Blob Nights, transforming lobbies with red gelatin props and encouraging fans to bring their own gooey creations. These community-driven events turned screenings into local happenings, generating buzz far beyond traditional advertising. The campaign's most memorable stunts included local tie-ins and quirky contests that earned free publicity in small-town papers. These efforts became a model for how low-budget films could punch above their weight through sheer creativity. Marketing slogans like "Run, Don't Walk" echoed the film's frantic tone, while drive-in promotions targeted teenagers eager for shared thrills. The studio understood its audience and delivered an experience tailored to them. With a budget of just $110,000, The Blob became a cult classic. Its legacy lives on through events like Blobfest in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, proving that inventive marketing can turn a modest monster movie into a lasting cultural icon. On December 15, 1939, Atlanta became the epicenter of Hollywood spectacle for the premiere of Gone with the Wind. This wasn't just a film debut, it was a 3-day cultural event that transformed the city into a living tribute to the Old South. Mayor William Hartsfield declared a symbolic Gone with the Wind day, closing schools and businesses. Tens of thousands lined Peachtree Street, forming human walls of anticipation. The stars arrived by a specially chartered train, greeted by Confederate honor guards and frenzied fans. The Lowe's Grand Theater was draped in crimson and gold, while searchlights lit up the sky. Local merchants joined the frenzy, filling windows with themed displays and memorabilia that flew off shelves. Producer David O. Selznick reportedly orchestrated every detail, even coaching officials on their roles. The premiere's grandeur attracted national media coverage and set a new benchmark for film promotion. It wasn't just a movie launch, it was a marketing revolution. MGM's campaign for The Wizard of Oz in 1939 redefined movie marketing. The studio launched a nationwide promotional blitz that brought the magic of Oz to everyday life. Press books sent to theaters were packed with ideas for local tie-ins, from costume contests to themed window displays. Department stores stocked Oz merchandise months before the premiere, turning shopping into a cinematic experience. Judy Garland promoted the film through radio performances, singing songs that would become iconic. These appearances helped embed the film's emotional core into the national consciousness. Some Munchkin actors attended promotional events, adding a touch of fantasy to real-world appearances. The Hollywood premiere at Grauman's Chinese Theater drew coast-to-coast media coverage. The campaign didn't just sell tickets, it created a legacy. Later television broadcasts cemented The Wizard of Oz as a beloved classic, proving that great marketing can make a film timeless. United Artists didn't merely release A Hard Day's Night in 1964, they engineered a cultural explosion that redefined how pop music films were marketed. What could have been a modest musical comedy became a global sensation. The promotional storm began weeks before the July 6th London premiere. Radio stations saturated the airwaves with Beatles tracks, while theaters hosted look-alike contests that drew swarms of fans. These events turned cinema lobbies into frenzied fan zones, where the excitement often rivaled the film itself. Merchandise tie-ins played a pivotal role. Beatles wigs and memorabilia flew off shelves, with the mop-top wigs becoming a visual symbol of Beatlemania. Some argue the wigs alone generated more buzz than any billboard could. The campaign blindsided even veteran theater owners. Advanced ticket sales shattered expectations, and venues scrambled to manage the tidal wave of teenage enthusiasm. Security guards became a necessity as theaters transformed into shrines for the Fab Four. This wasn't just promotion, it was a masterclass in cultural engagement. The campaign launched the Beatles' cinematic legacy and proved that a film could become a generational event, not just a night at the movies. September 15, 1954. Marilyn Monroe stood over a subway grate on Lexington Avenue, her white dress billowing as cameras rolled and crowds swelled. 20th Century Fox had turned a film shoot into a publicity spectacle that brought Manhattan to a standstill. But the live shoot was just the beginning. Theaters across the country displayed life-size Monroe cutouts, turning lobbies into photo ops. Moviegoers lined up not just for tickets, but for snapshots with the star's cardboard likeness. Fox's boldest move? A nationwide contest inviting married couples to share tales of temptation. Newspapers devoured the submissions, and the campaign turned flirtation into front-page news. Billboards featuring Monroe's silhouette sparked both fascination and outrage. Conservative groups protested, but the controversy only fueled interest. The studio had found the formula. Scandal plus star power equals box office success. The 7-Year Itches campaign didn't just promote a film, it cemented Monroe's status as a cultural icon and proved that provocative marketing could be cinematic gold. In 1956, Warner Brothers made a bold move by premiering Giant not in Hollywood, but in Marfa, Texas, the very town where it was filmed. The studio transformed this remote location into a celebration of both cinema and cowboy culture. Billboards and posters featuring Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, and James Dean blanketed Texas. Local businesses joined in, offering themed merchandise and promotions that turned the town into a living tribute to the film. The premiere included a massive barbecue and rodeo, drawing celebrities and locals alike. Reporters captured scenes of movie stars mingling with ranchers and oil workers, the very people the film portrayed. Though some executives feared the rural setting might alienate urban audiences, the gamble paid off. The authenticity of the event resonated deeply, turning the premiere into a cultural bridge. Giant grossed over $12 million domestically and became a symbol of Texas pride. Its Marfa debut proved that embracing a film's roots could create marketing magic. Twentieth Century Fox turned The Fly's 1958 release into a horror marketing triumph. Rather than downplay the grotesque premise, the studio leaned into it, crafting a campaign that thrilled and unsettled in equal measure. Legend has it that Fox mailed plastic flies in tiny boxes to radio DJs and critics, creating a visceral buzz. Whether true or not, the story captures the campaign's audacious spirit. Some theaters featured ushers in lab coats handing out fly swatters, while others staged mock scientific experiments in their lobbies. These stunts tapped into Cold War-era fears of unchecked science, blurring fiction and reality. Promotional materials dared audiences to face the film's horrors, turning anticipation into anxiety. The Fly's campaign proved that embracing fear could be more effective than softening it. The result? A modest-budget thriller that became a genre classic, influencing horror marketing for decades to come. In 1959, United Artists faced a challenge: how to promote a comedy about cross-dressing without triggering backlash. Their solution? A campaign that was cheeky, clever, and just provocative enough. Posters teased with the tagline "hotter than ever" and featured Marilyn Monroe in eye-catching attire. The Production Code Administration initially balked, but the studio turned censorship concerns into curiosity. Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon posed in drag for publicity stills, blurring the line between character and campaign. Newspapers eagerly ran the photos, fueling nationwide buzz. Some theaters received novelty hot water bottles as tie-ins, while Monroe look-alike contests drew crowds and press attention. These playful promotions kept the film in the public eye. The strategy worked. Some Like It Hot became a box office hit and critical darling, proving that smart marketing could turn risque content into mainstream success. When Howard Hughes released The Outlaw in 1943, he ignited a firestorm, not just for the film's content, but for how he marketed it. The controversy centered on Jane Russell's revealing wardrobe, which ran afoul of the Hays Code. Rather than back down, Hughes leaned into the scandal. He delayed the film's release, allowing rumors and outrage to build. When it finally hit theaters, the buzz was deafening. Hughes even commissioned provocative billboards that emphasized Russell's figure, ensuring the film stayed in the headlines. While the Hays Code was busy governing film content during the era, Hughes exploited the system's rigidity to generate publicity. By courting controversy, he turned censorship into a marketing tool. The Outlaw's campaign demonstrated that sometimes the best way to sell a film is to make it feel forbidden. Hughes' tactics may have been shameless, but they were undeniably effective. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.